By now, the tragedy of the baby Bella case is well known. But what makes the case additionally troubling for so many observers is that her neighbors, by and large, said and did nothing, leaving us to wonder, would any of us as neighbors know what to look for when it comes to the signs of an abused child? And more importantly, would we act?
I think if I definitely saw somebody missing, I would ask the questions and follow up and call whoever I had to call.
I think it's up to us as good citizens to keep an eye out. For me, it's about the public good and the global good.
I'd like to think so about myself, but I couldn't honestly say so unless I was in that situation.
But I think there's a total lack of community, and I think people often are afraid to speak out for the common good.
If I think it's for the well-being of the child in a situation like this, yes, I would, because it's all about the children, the safety of the children.
It's very easy to be passive, and it's harder to be active. But in hindsight, you know, this tragedy took place, and we can only hope that in that situation we would act appropriately.
That's our launching point for this morning's OTR Roundtable conversation. Our analyst, Democrat Marianne Marsh, is with us, and Republican Patrick Griffin is with us as well. Guys, great to see you.
You heard Linda Spears this morning, and it sounds like she has a fight. The question is, does she have a fighting chance to fix DCF?
Look, failure's not an option here, period. She doesn't have a choice. These are kids' lives, and they have to be saved. And the stakes for Charlie Baker politically are high. She seems like a lovely woman with an impossibly difficult job, but when you heard a lot of those answers today, it is common sense. And I don't think you have to make what is obvious any harder than it is already. And I heard a lot of process, but this comes down to whether a kid's doing well or not. That's not brain surgery, to your point. And just do your job. Do your job.
But the track record has not been good, has it, Pat? So do you think she has a fighting chance of getting this agency back on track?
Well, I think she's more than a lovely woman. I think she's a very qualified person for the job. The governor has made it very, very clear that he wants this fixed. It's been a huge issue. It will be a huge issue as things go on if it's not fixed. She's been on the job for a long enough time to understand that some of the cases you talked about with her this morning didn't even occur on her watch. So there's still cleanup going on. Now, Charlie Baker wouldn't say that, but I will. DCF has been a mess for a long, long time, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take a new approach to try and make sure that these kids don't fall into this situation. And by the way, one last thing. It's really interesting after the fact to look at these cases. When you talk about 110 visits to a house, that is common sense. In fact, I understand. That is common sense, and that is indefensible. But at the end of the day, I think we've got to realize this has been a systemic problem for a long time. It is not, tragically, not going to get fixed overnight. It's going to get fixed.
But no one disagrees with it. But the fact here is, my God, teachers said something. His classmates said something. 110 visits, people along the way, every single time, raised their hand and said, there's a problem here, and nothing happened.
It is
so hold on.
indefensible.
It is indefensible. Yes, she's only been on the job 5 months, but the fact is, these kids' lives are at stake. Enough is enough. Fix it now.
I think we agree on that.
Fix it now.
Okay, I think we agree on that.
Fix it
now. There's a great idea. Someone should use that in a campaign.
Yeah. After Jeff fixes his campaign.
I think that'll be interesting is to see whether anyone gets disciplined, anyone gets fired, or if it's just, you know, sort of policy.
I want to talk about item 2. Boston City Council now has 4 women of color, not quite a majority and not a consistent voting bloc, but still a massive change. Marianne, can you predict how different the business of politics will now be?
The good news is there are 4 women of color on the council. The bad news is it reaches the high mark that we had in the 90s with 4 women on the council. But I think they can do a lot to work on issues that are important to women, families in Boston, and if they do that, the opinion of the city council will go up.
Patrick, your read.
I think Stephen Murphy and Charles Yancey, a combined 50 years in the council chamber. Clearly, some fresh air was needed and gotten in this election. I think it's a good thing, and I also think that it sends a very strong message. People are tired of the way things are, and if you take for granted the job you do, people feel it, they know it, and it's reflected in the voting booth.
One of the hottest issues on Beacon Hill right now is schools, charter schools. Teacher unions are telling legislators to ignore Governor Baker's plan to lift the charter school cap. They're confident they can stop next year's ballot question. Is this a risky strategy, Pat?
It's a dumb strategy. First of all, the ballot will kill them. this is an issue the governor will win. It was a seminal part of his campaign. Look, there are two loving, wonderful parents in Washington with two beautiful daughters who've made a decision to send them to the school they think is right for their daughters. Their names are Michelle and Barack Obama. They've chosen private schools for their kids. Why can't every family in Massachusetts have the same opportunity the president does? You don't cap charter schools.
As
it's
has
dumb.
every president who's been
Is it
there.
a risky strategy, though?
On its face, it looks smart because it's a presidential year beyond the ballot. Huge turnout, all right? Here's the downside. A lot of voters of color, African Americans and Hispanics, will turn out in even bigger numbers, and they support charter schools because they see that as a lifeline for their kids, because public schools in their neighborhoods have failed their kids. Risky strategy.
So why would the unions,
Risky,
but hang on one second, risky to get behind
strategy.
unions who are very good teachers in many cases, who want to oppose kids getting the opportunity to have the money follow them rather than follow the money.
Put it on the ballot.
Item 4. Today is Sunday. The New England Patriots have returned $700,000 to the Department of Defense after an audit this past week reveals NFL teams were paid for on-field patriotism. By the way, only the Atlanta Falcons got paid more than the Patriots. They got paid about $900,000. Marianne, how squeamish does this make you as a Pats fan?
It's so unpatriotic. Shameful. Return the money. What are you paying for?
Right.
Flags?
Right.
People to stand up
Right.
and cheer? They've already
Right.
paid for the tickets. Transportation? People would bring them there. That is shameful.
$13 billion a year industry, Patrick, and they're billing the government $700,000 for these things?
Well, listen, you know, Marianne's right. On the face of it, it's kind of sickening. But having been involved in advertising for a long time, the federal government spends money in the Department of Defense for attracting and retaining members of the service. I don't think when we get deep into this, we're going to find out that this is money for flags or people singing the national anthem. There are billboards, there's advertising. It's sold on this air, it's sold in stadiums. So I think we have to figure out, were they in fact paying for patriotism, or did the patriotism come as part of the promotion?
What part of this don't you understand? There were no ads,
you know,
no billboards,
explain
no
it to me,
nothing,
because as you know,
they
I
showed
rarely
up,
understand
They wrote a check to
anything.
them just to pay them to show
Up
up.
and down the
Ridiculous.
field, up and down the field they go. More OTR in 90 seconds.